Ms. Hilton says, if you don't testify, get this part through your head. If you don't testify, that is the only thing that is holding you. That is literally the only thing holding you right now, is the fact that you keep saying, I'm not going to testify. Well, you haven't said it today. I'm not testifying. I plead the fifth. If you get up there and I want you to tell the truth. Like I said before, if you don't recall certain things, you can just say that you don't recall. That's fine. I want you to tell the truth. I don't expect you to remember every single detail of 2015. I'm going to impeach you on everything you said in 2015, meaning I'm going to say, okay, today you said X, but in 2015, and Lieutenant Dean enters the chambers. Lieutenant Dean, we have a security issue. We need to stop for a minute. Uh-oh. If we can stop for a second, please. Judge Glanville and Lieutenant Dean exited the chambers. Judge Glanville returned to the chambers 2 minutes later. Ms. Hilton said, if you don't know what was told to you on Friday, I have no reason to want you in prison. You have spent enough time in prison for YSL, period. So why would I want that for you? That doesn't make sense. I said it to you before, and I will say it to you again in front of all these people. It makes no sense. Lil Woody said, you just saying I'm going to have to stay in jail until the last day, probably. Ms. Hilton says, if you don't testify, get this part through your head. If you don't testify, that is the only thing that is holding you. That is literally the only thing holding you right now, is the fact that you keep saying, I'm not going to testify. Well, you haven't said it today. I'm not testifying. I plead the fifth. If you get up there and I want you to tell the truth. Like I said before, if you don't recall certain things, you can just say that you don't recall. That's fine. I want you to tell the truth. I don't expect you to remember every single detail of 2015. I just don't. No one here does. All right. But what I do expect for you to do is answer questions so we can get through it, so you can go home, so you can be with your baby for her birth. Oh, man, don't do that. See these dogs deliver their babies, go talk to your nephews and do all these other things. He said, how you know about my dogs? Because you told me. Lil Woody said, okay. Miss Bumpus said, what's wrong? Lil Woody said, I'm stressing at another level. Like, Miss Bumpus says, I mean, I'm saying, that's dirty, man. That's nasty work. Lil Woody said, I'm weak, man. I'm not playing. I'm dead serious, man. I'm like, Miss Hilton says, this is what our position is. We don't want him in custody. We want him to tell the truth. We want him to testify. That's what will get him out of jail. And, you have to make something. So I'll look it up shortly, but I want to see if there's anything Lil Woody can do to just not have immunity. I highly doubt it, but we'll have to look up and see. Miss Bumpus says, if he decides in 2 weeks he wants to testify, then what? Miss Hilton says, if he wants to stay in jail for 2 weeks, then that's on him, probably is what she said. I don't know why you would want to stay in jail for 2 weeks. I have no idea. Miss Bumpus said, he just feels like he's under a lot of pressure right this second. Mr. Cope or Lil Woody says, even at the jail, they're just something. You can't give me house arrest. Miss Hilton says, no, you can go home by taking the stand and testifying. That's what you can do, or something like that. And Judge Glanville says, and come back tomorrow. Miss Hilton said, there's no something. We keep on saying yet, but there's no crime. We keep on saying yet. I didn't know who is telling you about a crime. There is no crime. You have done nothing wrong except for not getting on the stand, is probably what she said. Lil Woody said, so why am I in jail then? Miss Hilton, because you aren't testifying. Lil Woody says, but that ain't nothing wrong. It's not a crime. Miss Hilton said, it's not a crime, but you're in civil contempt. Judge Glanville said 2 things. Because you invoked your privilege after you have been given immunity. That is why you're in custody, because you get out by testifying. You testify, you get out. That's why I was going to bring you something. Why I brought you here earlier. Why I brought you here earlier today, to just inquire about that. You can remain on You can remain and hold your position of invoking the fifth or not testifying, but you go back to prison. You go back to jail because that's something. Mr. Cope or Lil Woody says, you can't sentence me. Kayla says there's no sentence. Judge Glanville says there's no sentence. The contempt is compliance. They want your testimony. That is all they want, whether whatever that may be. Lil Woody says, I don't know what that is, Your Honor. Ms. Hilton says, so listen, you are in jail for failing to testify. It's pretty straightforward. Failing to testify, says Judge Glanville. This is so weird how they're going back and forth. Anyway, Ms. Hilton says, not for anything else. There's no crime. You ain't done nothing wrong. I don't know if there are people telling you that we are going to charge you with nothing. We are not charging you. The state charges you. There is nothing we are charging you with. You are only in custody because you have decided not to testify. That's it. Once you decide to testify, you'll be set free probably. Remember that word you were talking to me about, purge? Says Lil Woody. Judge Glanville says, okay, you can purge right now. Purge yourself and get out of jail by testifying. I can purge and get out of jail, says Lil Woody. Judge Glanville says, yes, by testifying. And Ms. Hilton says, not perjury. Oh my gosh. This is they're just going back and forth in a circle. And this is different. I'm gonna skip this because this is obnoxious. All right, Ms. Hilton said, it's not that. It's not that something. What you are saying is not perjury. What you're saying is what we call a prior inconsistent statement. Your example that you gave me, what if you did something and you didn't do it, and you said before you didn't do it, that's not perjury. That is a prior inconsistent statement. Kayla says, you've got to make a decision. So if he starts testifying today, he's going home. He's going to go home today. Ms. Hilton said he should. So as long as he remains. But if you get up there and you be like, if you get up to testifying and then we get into it and you start saying, I plead the fifth, we're going to be back here again. Kayla says, but if he says he don't recall to everything, he'll be okay. Ms. Hilton says, I'm not advising that, but as long as he answers the question, that's fine. So as long as he's something. Though what he says, I did these crimes. I'm telling you that. Hold on. What? What? I did these crimes. I'm telling you that. Miss Hilton says, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but Miss Bumpin says, wait, are you saying you want to get up there on the stand and say something? Lil Woody. Not saying anything. Miss Bumpin says, did we find out if he could talk to his family or no? Brief pause. Miss Hilton. Miss Hilton says, I mean, if it's okay, we got the sister's number. Lil Woody said, as my attorney, you got a something. Miss Hilton said, let me something. If y'all want to talk, let me go somewhere where I can't hear you. The judge is over there, so just speak low so he doesn't hear you. The judge says, hold on. All right, so they all get up out of there and they're gone for almost over 30 minutes. Wow, Judge Glanville comes back in. This is crazy. Lil Woody said they knew he was about to get up there and say he did it. Wow, man. Judge Glanville says, okay, all right. Lil Woody, have you had an opportunity to talk with Miss Bumpus, your lawyer, and Miss Hilton, the state's counsel? What? Miss Hilton's the state's counsel now, huh? Interesting. We're gonna leave that one alone. Have you got any other questions? Lil Woody says, no, Your Honor. And then Judge Glanville says, is it your desire to give a testimony? Lil Woody says, yes, sir. And then Judge Glanville says, okay, all right then. Do you all have some clothes for him? Miss Hilton says, I don't know. Let me go take a look. What size are you? Lil Woody says, I can't hear you. Miss Hilton says, what size are you? And he says, little.
Hey, yo.
Oh my gosh. All right. And then they're going back and forth about clothes. Lil Woody doing Lil Woody things. Chess, what are you? What size are you? Small or medium? Lil Woody says small or medium. There's Glanville says they're going to try and get you some clothes so you don't have to testify wearing the jail uniform. Okay. Lil Woody said, y'all don't want me to show people how y'all did me? Oh, get him, Woody. Just Glanville said, look here now. No, Miss Hilton said, if we can't find clothes, then you may have to until tomorrow. Lil Woody said, I prefer to go in like this. I understand what your preference is, says ADA Hilton. Lil Woody says, nah, don't hide it. Kayla says, can you make him put on clothes? Miss Hilton says, nope. Lil Woody says, I want to go in there just like this. Oh man. Miss Hilton says, fine with me. Just Glanville says, all right, okay. Lil Woody, you ain't gonna try and lock me back up for this. Oh man, that sucks, man. I feel bad for Lil Woody. I'm not gonna lie. Miss Hilton, so long as you testify, we will get an order to get you released today, says Miss Bumpus.